Good morning, teacher. This time I am going to talking about the lesson plan number 2. I have choose this lesson plan because the class was very interesting, very entertaining, and very useful for the students. So I would like to start with the objectives that I use in this lesson plan. It was very interesting. In the writing, students will be able to write sentence using the modal verb can't and can't. In the listening, students will be able to learn to listen sentences with the modal verb can't and can't. In the speaking, students will be able to speak sentences with the modal verb can't and can't. In the in the skills reading, students will be able to read sentences using the modal verb can't and can't. This where the objectives that I use in this lesson plan. So it's very interesting in this lesson plan the methodology and strategies that I use in this lesson plan was the total physical response, communicative language teaching. In the strategies that I use in this lesson plan was all class work or can be solo work that was very interesting for the students. In the another step, the lesson plan is the anticipatory set. Here I am going to start motivating the students with a dynamic with the purpose of exercising the brain of the students. That is to say, here I am going to develop a warm-up activity for the students. This dynamic is very interesting for the students, so they can be motivated. For example, the dynamic is called tingo, tingo, tingo. The students, when we pronounce tango, these students must pay a penitence, so it's very interesting for the students. So in the another step, the lesson plan, we have a main teaching input. At this point, I am going to present the topic to students for this. I have prepared excellent material so that the students have an idea of what we are going to learn in this class. On a few sheets of paper, I will give the students some sentence using the modal can't, and another sheet of paper there will be sentence with the modal can't, this with the purpose that the students can motivate with the material. Use they can how to use modal can't and modal can't is very interesting. So besides, I am going to use the blackboard to explain the students the use of the modal verb. So it's very interesting. In Spanish, they can be the modal verb can to talk about skill, something you know or can do. It's very interesting this the step. Another important step in this lesson plan was the modeling. At this point, I am going to indicate all the activities the students have to do. In this section, I am going to ask the students to participate by writing as sentences. Can be on the board or on the sheet of paper. For this, they will have to write sentences on the board. They will have to take turns in order to show the participation, everyone to show participation of all. This this is the step. In the step number 7 is the guided practice. While the students are participating thing in the aforementioned activity. I will be monitoring the activity so everyone are participating in the activity. The another important step is the independent practice. At this important point, I am going to ask the students to take out their notebook and write some sentences using the modal verb can and can't. This in order to to follow or to keep improve the students or develop these skills on their own. It's very interesting this topic because the students can learn about modal verb can and can't. In the assignments, the step assignments, in this section, I am going to evaluate the participation of each one of the students. That is to say, I am going to rate the skills and the interests of the students when they are developing all the activities previously proposed in this lesson plan. Was very interesting, so it's necessary. When they are developing the activity in their book, I am going to evaluating this activity, your participation, how they can work. So in the last step, the closing review and follow up. In this point, I am going to develop feedback. This section of the lesson plan is important so that the students can be clear in the development of the activity, so the students can develop your questions. They can be or they can have some questions. I will answer their questions, so every topic is clear for this, for everyone or for each of the students. So this was my second class as the main teacher. In this class, I prepare myself a lot to reach the students with a very illustrative topic. So it's interesting in such a way that the students are entertaining from the beginning of the class and the end. They pay a lot of attention to presentation of the topic. Is very interesting for the students. So the topic was successful in all the activities that I prepared for them. Now I am going to talk about the negative and positive aspects of this lesson plan that I prepared for the second year of high school students. Was very interesting this topic. So I developed a one-man activity for the students. This dynamic is, I prepare a dynamic, so it's very interesting for the students. So the positive aspects of the lesson plan was, for example, when the students, when I presented the main teaching input using some sheets of paper that I gave to the students, introducing the theme. The theme was can't and can't. Now I would like to talk about the negative aspects of this lesson plan. It was in the use of guided practice, where the students wrote sentences on the board, were asked to carry out this activity. The students, they returned to perform the activity. Perhaps at this point too much noise could be evidenced when they try to participation. So this can be a, I consider that this lesson plan fulfilled all the expected procedures and objectives. That this lesson plan was very interesting for everyone, the students. So they improve your knowledge, they improve your skills, they improve every in every situations they can use the modal verb can and can't. That was my second plan. Thank you for your attention, teacher.